Look at the data: wage stagnation, high national debt, chronic inflation. This bleak reality is not an economic accident. It is the structural consequence of a flawed agreement. Governance holds power over the citizen only by consent. Yet, as a matter of historical fact, the right to universal suffrage, the right for every citizen to vote, is barely 100 years old. The legislative foundation that governs your life today was adopted from a previous, restricted electorate. This gap represents the structural problem, a legislative non-consent. This non-consent created the conditions for systemic elite disconnection. We can introduce the hypothesis of the hidden 100-year war, a century of legislative manipulation where the executive progressively centralized power and divested critical national assets. This means the laws governing your life were adopted, not consented to. We see the consequence in the current structure, where decisions are perceived to favor political convenience over foundational citizen rights. The privatization of essential national assets, for example, is critiqued in reports from the National Audit Office as a failure of policy, not of economics. This structural failure is driven by specific mechanisms. First, executive overreach. The executive's reliance on what are colloquially known as Henry VIII powers allows government to amend primary law via delegated legislation, bypassing full parliamentary scrutiny. This practice is cited in constitutional reports as eroding oversight and creating the conditions for unchecked power. Second, digital control. External digital finance regulations are now influencing the UK's financial sovereignty and digital resilience, coupled with the functionally mandatory digital identity scheme for employment checks. Your liberty is being digitized and controlled. If you do not understand the mechanics, you lose the power to challenge it. The response is not protest, it is rationality. The solution is the structural reparation audit, a technological, non-partisan, full-spectrum legal audit of the legislative code. It fights no one dot, it is a preventive measure to fix the foundation. But for the audit to be effective, citizen power lies in knowledge. This requires due process literacy, which must be clearly defined as mandatory knowledge of the system's mechanics and legal recourse. This knowledge restores the ability to challenge the system's terms, the ultimate mechanism for accountability with the citizen's ancient right, the legally enforceable petition. Unlike an e-petition, this tool compels a formal, time-bound response from Parliament. The delegation of your power at a general election is countered by the revocation of your power through this demand. Audit the law, confirm the legislative contract. Citizen power is in the legally enforced demand.